version, we were like, I had in my head, we were making banana bread together during the pandemic and like growing kale like everybody
Wait,
else.
we're definitely not growing kale. Just stop it.
Speak for
That is the trash
yourself.
leaf.
Oh
That
my
is the trash
God.
leaf. No more kale talk.
I just picked
No.
blueberries this morning.
So,
Of course you did.
I don't know. So with each of your shows, all of you have been very important supporting characters in the Marvel films, but now you were all at the top of the call sheet, headlining your own shows. I'll start with Lizzie, and I'm going to call you Lizzie because you told me in a previous interview I could call you Lizzie. Lizzie, what was that experience like for you to go from being, having your specific scenes in your movies to being there every day, top of the call sheet, lead of the show?
I think the first thought of it was felt like intimidating because more specifically that we were moving these larger than life characters onto a television screen. And I think that idea freaked me out. And then once that was the initial feeling, but once I spoke with Jack Schaefer, our showrunner and creator, I guess, yeah, showrunner. I feel like we did use those proper terms in our sets, but
No.
but head writer Jack really understood my character and her history, specifically with Paul and her own experience in just like all of the Marvel movies. And I, in my brain, just because I was trying to grasp at anything, was creating these inner arcs in between movies just to hold on to something. And she pulled all those thoughts out of my brain and put them on the screen or on the page. And so it was a nice opportunity. Paul and I were actually very excited to lead our show and kind of set a tone of just like fun, respect, kindness, and discipline. And I think it made us all,
Punctuality.
Punctuality. We were a very, very punctual set. No one was ever late. That is true. But that's what you get when you get when you do get to lead in a way, you get to set the standard for everyone. And we had a really great time making our show, and there's a lot of collaboration, and it was chaos because you're going from a movie that's like a page and a half a day to 7 pages a day. It was really exhausting, but I know we had great leadership, and not talking about us, but we had other, great leaders with Matt Shackman, our director, and Jack Schaefer. And so it was a great opportunity.
And you got to work with Kat Dennings.
Oh, yes, Mackie, I did.
Yeah.
Anthony, although I gather that everyone who knows you calls you Mackie, but I will call you Anthony. Anthony, when you were first pitched the idea of taking Falcon to Disney Plus, what was your reaction?
I was horrified. It's funny because when I went to LA, I bumped into, I didn't know who, what, where, what was going on. And, all I know is I got called to LA to have a meeting. So I walk into the hotel, come in the lobby, and I bump into Sebastian. I'm like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? He's like, you have a meeting? Yep. You have a meeting? Yep. Okay. So I had an idea of what was cooking, but I didn't think it was going to be a TV show. And, I would say I was very afraid and very disappointed when I heard it was going to be a TV show, because I didn't think that we could take the scope of what we had just done in all these movies and then put it on TV and it would work. And I didn't want to be like the first failed entity of Marvel. Like, you have all this amazing stuff, and then this one thing sucks, and it just happens to be me. So, because I didn't know about the other shows. When I heard they were putting like us on TV, I was like, yo, you're literally sending me and Sebastian out to pasture like 2 old cows. You know, why are we like we shouldn't? There's no way you can take the even like
he's being way too modest about it. By the way, after being in 17 Oscar-nominated movies, I guess like, you know, he's gonna have that. No way, man.
No, I was mortified, and I thought it took it took Kari and Malcolm.
Kari Skoglund and Malcolm Spellman.
Yeah, and once I heard the two of them were on, I was like, oh well, you know, Kevin Feige promised me that he wasn't going to dumb down the culture that of the Marvel franchise that they've created, because you know if it's just like, you know, it was going to be smaller. I thought it was going to be like, you know, Batman and Robin, the original one, where it was like pow, bing, you know.
I mean, that would be kind of fun to see in a Marvel context too. But you know, I think that it sounds like that once you got going, you both sort of got a sense of, oh no, this is still going to be at the scope of the movies.
Right. Yeah. And it was all the same people, you know, and everybody can attest to this. You know, when you do these, when you become a part of the Marvel franchise, it's almost like, you know, summer camp. So when you show up to set, it's everybody and you never miss a beat. And, you know, everybody, some people have kids, some people bought a car, some people did this. So it's like, you know, you go back to seeing all your same friends over and over. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture that Lizzie was talking about. You're at work with your friends. So, of course, you're looking forward to going to work and having a good time and, you know, bumping into Lizzie in the parking lot and tormenting her set and stuff like that because it's fun, you know?
Tom, you know, I understand that for you even taught like a Loki 101 course to the creative leaders of your
We were not
show.
invited.
We were not invited. Let us say, Sebastian and I were on the lot and we were not invited.
There was a whisper about it.
Everybody was talking about it. Tom Hiddleston gave a 6-hour symposium about
Why were we
Loki,
not invited?
and we were not invited.
We were all on the lot.
Yeah, yes, we were all on the lot.
Three of us were on the lot.
Sebastian and I, they made us work. They scheduled one of our biggest scenes so we could not sneak out and crash the Tom Hiddleston symposium.
Did you have a laser pointer or like a telescopic thing that you could point to?
He gave a 6-hour symposium about Loki. Go. Yes, Tom, we're listening.
There was a whiteboard. Well, let me go back. Let me go back to the beginning. So there was a kind of like, see, our show hasn't aired yet, so I have to be careful with what I say now. But so initially, when Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito called me about this, they were very excited, and it was around the spring of 2018, which was when Infinity War was being released into the world, and they said, you know, Disney are going to create this streaming platform, and they have, you know, we're very excited to present ideas to them, and Loki's one of them, in amongst WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. I was like, okay. And then I was excited, but my first question was, how do we do that? Infinity War was just about to come out, and the opening 3 minutes of that film felt extremely final. And
you die. Loki dies.
Yeah. And I said, well, what? How do we do that? Because they were so kind and generous, but also sort of conclusive about the way that scene was written. I think even Josh Brolin as Thanos says, "No resurrections this time." And then cut to. So
Tom, when you said, how can we do this? Did you know yet what was going to happen in Endgame, or did they even say to you, well, we have a plan, we just can't tell you yet? Did they give you any sense of like how they're going to do it?
Basically, there were like there were moments where different people on the production team had lots of different questions about different things from different films, different movies. And what the 6 movies I made in the MCU, they were like, why does this costume change to this, and what happened here, and what was the thinking behind, why did this thing end up like that, and why do you use your knives like this in one film and your knives like this in another one? And because again, I have to be careful of spoilers. I know that you'll be respectful of the need with 2 weeks to go. So there were basically the show is about lots of, the show's about lots of things, but it's probably, there's an element of it being a kind of, it's about identity in the way that WandaVision maybe is about grief. And we were digging into lots of different aspects of Loki and this, you know, the shapeshifter who is constantly changing shape. So what's his authentic shape? Does he have one? And there's so many, I was fielding lots of questions from the production team. And then
6 hours, Tom. 6
it
hours.
It came up in, it wasn't 6. It can't
Symposium, 6 hours.
I mean, it's 2 maybe.
Okay,
Like
2 hours.
You know, like an hour with a Q&A.
Tom, Q&A. There was a Q&A.
Anyway, so
Sorry,
I said to...
Sorry. Love you. Sorry, Liz.
I said to Kate Herron, our director, I said, would it be helpful if I gave everybody all the information at the same time? And Kate and Kevin Wright, our producer, was like, that's a brilliant idea. So it became, and I shamefully, it then became a kind of Loki lecture. Yes, I'm crushed with shame and embarrassment that this thing has even happened and is now out in the world. But you know, if you guys, you know, want the kind of cliff notes on it, I can probably type them up. Send you a copy if you really want it.
I think it's born out of real fear that I'm not sure I could hold a 30-minute discussion
Right.
about it. That's actually what it's born out. It's like, oh my God, Tom Hiddleston is so prepared.
Paul, could you hold a 2-hour symposium about the ship of Ephesus, the ship of Theseus?
No, I couldn't. I just did what I always do, which is learn the lines, hope for the best.
Swing for the fence, baby.
And it was slightly intimidating because I was playing opposite my stunt guy, and he was kind of better than me, you know. This happened to me once before when I had a stand-in, you know, a camera stand-in. It was for lighting, and he would do things, and I go, Jesus, that's a good idea. And it was really, you know, whole thing was, you know, I found myself robbing ideas of the
stand-in.
of the guy stand-in for lighting. Terrible. Anyway, but yeah, we digress. Hey, Adam, take it away.
Yes. So Tom brought up a very good point when he asked to be careful, conscious of spoilers, which is all of you have in various times in your careers within Marvel had to navigate people like me asking you questions that you actually can't answer. And so I want to know if you all have sort of go-to ways of avoiding answering direct questions that are sort of spoiler driven, because you all have to protect the storytelling that Marvel has worked so hard to maintain and keep everybody surprised. Like, for example, you know, Tom, it sounds like you didn't even know that Loki was going to sort of be resurrected in Endgame until much later. Like, so do they keep things from you? How do you navigate all of that?
No, actually, I did. The biggest secret I kept for a long time was that scene in Infinity War. So I remember going in to meet Kevin and Lou before we started filming Ragnarok, and they were kind of talking me through. Before they sent the script, they were kind of talking me through the story, and Taika, I think, wasn't in town at that time, so I just talked it through with them, and at the end of that meeting, so they were sort of describing what happens with Thor and what Chris was going to do, and the arrival of Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, and how Hulk and Ruffalo is going to be on this alien planet at the other end of the universe with Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. And I thought, this is great. And then where it was going to end. And then at the end of that meeting, Joe and Anthony Russo came in and they said, we're working on the next Avengers film, and this only completed scene we've locked is the opening. And then they told me what happened in it. And so I then carried that around, sort of knowing that was going to happen for, I guess, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. You just kind of, I don't know how you guys feel, you just kind of change the subject and go, I can't tell you anything. You'll have to wait and see. I know some people feel they have to tell someone, otherwise they'll tell everyone. How do you guys feel about it?
I tell everyone in my personal life, and I tell no one in the press.
You trust the people in your personal life?
Yeah, I trust them with things that happen in my life that don't get out in the press. So yes, I trust them with Marvel news. God help you if you don't. Jeez.
This is really revealing about you. Yeah, we have people in our personal life that we trust. Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
I don't think Max does. He's shocked. I feel like Sebastian would be really good at answering this question.
What?
How do you avoid answering questions, Sebastian?
Absolutely not. I'm very worried about any trusting whatsoever. I before this variety call, I had a conversation with Anthony where I was like, I just want to know that you'll be on this call. I can't be alone. I think I have an attachment issue now to him. Like, I can't even do this.
See,
you're like the little brother, and the big brother just
Why am I not the little brother? How do you say, Lizzie? I might be the little brother. How about that?
I think you're the big brother, and Sebastian likes to let his big brother talk so that he can just.
Lizzie, I'm so happy you're like.
I'm not saying anything else.
I'm not putting either of you down, by the way.
There she is.
I'm just observing and just saying how I see it.
Lizzie, I'm just saying, if you ever want to meet at Aroma Cafe in the Valley, I'm in.
Aroma Cafe?
Is this where the therapy scene came from?
Right.
I'm
just seeing it right in live. I'm seeing it live happening in front of me.
Oh, that's so bad.
Paul, I'm going to pivot to you for a second. Your character Vision has arguably evolved. Well, the part that you've played in the MCU has evolved. I don't even know if it's necessarily really the same character entirely.
Yeah, he started off as a desktop.
Yeah, he started off as a voice.
He started off as a PC. This motherfucker, he started off as a Gateway 700.
and then you became Vision, and now, a spoiler for the end of WandaVision, there's another version of Vision now that's out there in the MCU. God knows when we'll see that again. But could you talk about, for you, how that's been to have this, your time in the MCU just continually perpetuate and sort of start over again, and every time you think it's over, then they tell you it's not. What that has been like for you?
Well, last time it was pretty great because my contract was up and I'd just been called twice. And then I got a call from Kevin Feige, and when the boss and your contract's up, I went to my wife and went, I think it's over. So I went in there, and because I'm British, I was like, I don't want anybody to feel bad. So I just went in full on, like, it's been a great ride. I love you guys. No hard feelings, please. And he looked at me and went, are you quitting? And I went, you're not firing me? And he went, no, we're gonna pitch a TV show. So I was poised, unlike Anthony, I was poised to go, absolutely, absolutely. I can keep the kids in private school. It's gonna be great. But to answer your question more seriously, yeah, it's been a fun ride. I think I was concerned about how on WandaVision I keep him being the Vision, and I think at the core of the Vision, because he's all changed, right? He's Ultron, he's Tony Stark, he's Jarvis, and then I just, threw a bit of some sort of 1950s comedy into it, and it seemed to hold on. If the center of Vision is decency, it can kind of absorb some other shit. So that's what I did.
Sebastian, when Bucky fell off of that train, in Captain America, the First Avenger, did you know that he was going to be coming back at that point? Did you know that then?
No, they were at first they were gonna have this like green sleeved arm, and I was like, oh, perfect. And then they were like, you know what? We don't know. So then they gave me the real arm back, and yeah, I don't know, not much after that.
So when did you find out that he was going to be coming back for Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
A friend of mine called me and said, hey, bro, I'm at the San Diego Comic-Con, and you're in the title of the next film. And I was like, oh, cool.
Seriously? They didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. We seem to find these things out like in weird ways, I guess. I don't know.
So did you've been playing this role now for off and on for 10 years, as has Tom. How has it changed your life?
Well, Tom, how's it changed your life? I'm just, you're just trying to kind of like still have some sort of a life, I guess, without someone commenting on it. It's like this. It's like if I move this piece of paper from left to right, someone's gonna have something to say about it, and I just think that's really funny.
You just launched like 3 blog posts about what that means. And professionally speaking, how has it affected for all of you? How has being part of the MCU changed the trajectories of the kinds of projects you can do outside of the MCU, the amount of commitment that you have to make with your time within the MCU? How has that affected your lives professionally?
I'll answer this genuinely and not make a joke about it. What it allows for all of us is that we all have a number sign above our heads when we make independent films, and whether or not we can sell them internationally to help get financing. Because I want to do that. It does allow us to be able to do that. So I think that's a great benefit to being a part of such a huge international franchise. Genuine.
Yeah.
Way to go, genuine.
I love these films, I have to say, and I have been in less of them than I think everybody else on the Zoom, and I don't want to embarrass you, Paul, with sincerity, but I remember going to see the first Iron Man when I can't remember, I was doing a TV job for the BBC, and I was working abroad and went to the local cinema, and I came back and I was like, that was amazing. That was an amazing movie. And everyone in it did amazing work. And the idea that I would ever get to be in anything like that felt so remote at that time for me. I didn't know how on earth I would be able to get, I thought, wow, this is great. And I was thinking, maybe you do get mad love for Jarvis, but like Jarvis is great. and that's why you've evolved into the Vision, and that's why you're still here. It's been life-changing because these films mean so much to so many people, and that is a privilege.
I mean, yeah, I think the way that that everyone felt at the end of Endgame when those battles happened, and the response that was sort of heard in the theaters, it's the thing that I keep thinking about when I think about going back to theaters post-pandemic, is sort of recapturing that kind of experience again. And you know, part of that is the fan interaction, the experience that you guys all have with the people who love Marvel so much. And I didn't know if any of you had any, you know, favorite interactions or memorable interactions you've had with Marvel fans